This is the foam insulation board that I use. You can see all of the cut marks. So you just make sure that your blade doesn't cut that deep into it. And then you can just use this over and over again. You could even flip it over. There's different thicknesses that you can buy. And what this does is it gives your board a solid, stable surface so that when you're cutting it, if you cut on sawhorses and you cut, it's only supported where the sawhorses are. It's not supported in the middle. So the board, as you cut it, will go in and it will pinch your blade, and that's what causes the kickback. So this eliminates that, and it's just a nice, solid, supported surface for you to cut on. Here is the jig that I use. They have a couple of different ones. This one only goes up to 24 inches for cutting. So if you needed to cut something wider than that, I would recommend one of their straight edge options or just clamping down a straight edge. But here's how you use this one. You can use it like this, or you can flip it. So you can unscrew these things, flip this piece, and then take this off. It'll slide off, and then flip it and slide it back on. So depending on what direction you want to use it. I've actually never done that. I just kind of rotate my plywood so that I don't have to mess with all of that. Your circular saw fits in one of these two openings, depending on how you want to use it. You clamp it down, I'll show you this, by unscrewing these screws. You can move these pieces, and then you screw it down onto your circular saw plate to lock it in place. And then this, you unclamp this, you can move it to the width you need, and then clamp it into place. You can use this little thing to line it up, and you can also move that around depending on how your saw is set up in this, but I actually don't do that. I just line my blade up with my line, which I will show you what I do. Take your saw, battery out. You never operate it with battery in. I like this setup because I feel like it gives me the most reach with putting my saw in the farthest one. So you're gonna line up your saw blade with that opening, and you're gonna slide it all the way to the front until it hits this piece here. Make sure your blade is centered in that opening, just to give it enough clearance. And then you're gonna tighten down these screws. It comes with a little Allen key. And you're just gonna tighten those down so that it holds your circular saw plate in place. Once I tighten them down, I like to kind of pull on it, make sure it's in a good position. And now we're gonna work on sliding this to where we need it. So again, I said you can use this guy to help line it up. It's supposed to be lined up with the line of your saw, but I just don't really trust things like that. I'd rather just line up the blade myself. So let me show you how I do that. Here you can see I made my line here, and that's what I'm gonna line the blade up with. Remember, if this is what I want and this is what I'm cutting off, you line your blade up on this side. The way this jig works is that this is your straight edge. So this is gonna follow along the outside line of your plywood, and that's what's gonna keep this all going straight. So what I need to do is line my blade up with that line. So remember, battery out, flip that back, that allows me to move it along this track. I line this piece up with my plywood, and I'm gonna look for where my pencil line was. I'm gonna move this forward so my blade is lined up with it. I'm just gonna put the inside edge of the blade on the line. Once it's there, I'll lock it in place. Now, if I had that piece where it was supposed to be, I'm cutting this to 12 inches. It would line up with the 12. If I had my blade lined up perfectly, it would line up as well. But again, I just don't trust those things. I would rather just line it up by myself. It's worked for me thus far. So now that it's all lined up, I'm gonna put my battery in. I'm gonna back it up because you always wanna start your blade off the material. Start the blade, and